Hello, and welcome to the BKS podcast, episode 8, with your host, Peter Land, who should be seated right here. Hello. Okay. So, interesting times, isn't it? I was going to try and not talk about coronavirus, but it's quite tricky, and actually, what I'm going to say is linked to that. Don't tune out, because I'm not going to be patronising, and I'm not going to go on about staying indoors and all that, because everyone's doing that, so just go and look at Facebook for that, right? Excuse me. Now, I've been thinking recently, so I put an advert out about how to stay on track with your training, okay? And right now, that is a huge deal, because all the gyms are closed. Gyms are closed. If you don't know, I run some outdoor sessions near my house with a bunch of guys who we all use kettlebells and body weight and mace bells and all of that sort of stuff. And everyone gets strong, fit and healthy. And I've had to close that down just from the responsibility that it's a group of people together, and if I do keep it going, there's a wider scope of people that could get ill. So it's a big responsibility, so I'm taking it very seriously, as are most people, which is great. Now, the problem then is, what do the guys do when they haven't got this session to go to, they haven't got this group that is already there? Well, we've gone online, right? Not ideal, but it's all we've got at the moment, okay? So anyway, that aside, how do you keep that motivation? How do you keep going? How do you keep yourself motivated to stay in shape? Now, the big thing about that is, I watched the Joe Rogan podcast. I can't remember the name of the fella, but it was some viral expert. And, he was he made a lot of sense in what he said. And one of the things that he was asked was, what's the best thing you can do to, not to avoid it, because easily the best thing to do to avoid catching this coronavirus is to, stay out of everyone's way, which is what we're trying to get everyone to do. But it's like, how can you overcome it? Okay. And obviously it affects people more so who've got, underlying health problems. Okay. The elderly, and infirm and all of that. So how do you get by that? How do you get by that? Because obviously, if you haven't got underlying health problems, it's still going to affect you pretty badly, and it can still be really devastating. So I'm not saying that's the be-all, end-all. However, it gives you more of a sporting chance. So this guy said, he's like, basically being fit and healthy, in shape, eating well, all of that, is probably going to do you in good stead. Okay? So this gets me to motivation. So this advert I was talking about that I've got going around, it basically, I asked a bunch of fellas, I said this on another podcast as well, I asked a bunch of fellas in their 40s, what's the hardest thing about getting in shape? What's the hardest thing about all of this sort of stuff? And most of them came back and said, pretty much everybody came back and said, staying on track. Okay, and a couple of people have actually have commented on the post as well. Okay, so because I sent out an email to my email followers, and I've got like a couple of thousand of those, and I asked all my online guys, and they said staying on track is the hardest thing. And a few people have commented on the advert as well. And one guy called me an idoit. An idoit. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe he meant to say idiot. I don't know. Who knows? We'll never know, will we? But there you go. I just thought it was quite funny. But another guy came on and he said it's motivation. Motivation for him. I spent a lot of my youth playing sports, training and mountain biking, and in my late 40s, I thought it was time to relax, but with that mindset, the pounds have piled on and my motivation has disappeared. So there we go. So what happened there was, he said he was doing lots of stuff, and then he decided to stop doing it because he thought he should, because he was in his late 40s. I don't know how old he is now. I don't know this fella. He just commented on my post. Now, motivation is a funny thing. So I basically went back to him and said, motivation isn't based on doing the thing. The motivation is based on why you're doing it, okay? So it'll be like, mostly, I would say, for guys in their 40s, it's usually for your kids, okay? Motivation to be there for your kids. And this brings me perfectly onto my motivation. Now, I haven't got any kids, okay? But I am one. You know, I have parents, or I have one parent, because one of them isn't with us anymore. So, you may or may not know already the story about my dad. I've shared it a lot. It's everywhere. I talk about it a lot because that's one of my main motivations, and it also brings me on to one of my friends as well. So, my dad died of cancer when he was 65. He started smoking when he was 5 years old and gave up smoking when he was like 48 or something like that. He died when he was 65 years old. So the smoking had already killed him before he even gave up. He died in 2004 when I was 27. He was too young. And it took me a while, but that to do something about myself, because I was drinking too much and smoking too much. I've spoke about all of this before. You'll find this it might be in my introduction podcast or whatever, but you know, I used to have my alter ego used to be Peter Coherent, which was a joke on the fact that when I got so drunk that I couldn't speak, people used to think it was funny. All of my friends and all of that. And basically, I was a mess. I was a mess psychologically, I was a mess physically, and I had to get over all that. I had to do something about it. And the big motivation for that was the fact that, being unhealthy and out of shape killed my dad. Pretty much. Now, that's quite a motivation, that. And also recently, one of my friends, last year, at the end of last year, he was diagnosed with bowel cancer. Okay, and he's the same age as me, 42, 43. And he was diagnosed with bowel cancer. And he's got two kids, one who's 11 and one who's 3 or 4, I can't remember. I think she's 4. But, sorry guys, I can't remember how old Annabelle is, but there you go. Anyway, he was diagnosed with bowel cancer, and that was a big deal, obviously. You know, but this week, so he's been really worried because he was due an operation at the end of this month. And the other day, he texted us all. Like, we've got a group that we all talk in, me and my mates from back home, and he texted us all and said, I don't need this. I'm not having this operation. We thought, all right, it might be. I was reading the message, it might be because of the coronavirus and everything. Turns out the cancer's gone, which is fantastic news. Fantastic news, and we're so happy about it. But he's going to be monitored, obviously, over the next few months, the next year or so or whatever, to see if it, to make sure it doesn't come back. But that is fantastic. But he changed his lifestyle. He basically stopped eating meat, ate more fish, a lot of vegetables, stopped drinking pretty much, changed his lifestyle. But arguably by then it's too late, right? Because the thing has already happened. Which brings me to what's going on right now. One of the ways to combat a pandemic like this, obviously, if it happens, it's going to kill a lot of people. It's going to happen, but you've got a better chance of overcoming it if you're healthy and in shape. And that doesn't mean becoming a Trappist monk and eating clean all of the time and never drinking and all of that. I'm not talking about that. But if you're obese, if you're out of shape, if you struggle climbing the stairs and you haven't got a good reason for that, okay, there are reasons why people are out of shape and not necessarily in good health. And, there's lots of reasons for that. But if the reason is because you haven't been looking after yourself, that's a big deal. So when people say to me, I haven't got the motivation, I haven't got the willpower, you have. You just need a good reason why that needs to be. You just need a good reason. And a damn good reason, I would say, is staying alive when something like this is going on. You know, and when I get guys who comment on things, you know, I try to make my videos a little bit not necessarily different and all that, but you know, I want a good message to come across, but I don't want it to be boring and I don't want it to be too dramatic. Okay, I mean, this thing that's going on, it is big, right? But like, you know, if we cause more drama about it, the media's already doing enough about that. You know, you've just got to be sensible, keep your distance, and get through it as best you can. We're all in it together. That's another thing. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about everybody. We're all in it together. I posted a photo the other day. My neighbour upstairs, I live in a 5-storey house in the basement, so there's another 4 flats in here. And my neighbour upstairs obviously must have had a spare like Carex hand sanitizer. Other hand sanitizers are available, by the way, apparently. Well, they're not anymore, but you know, there should be. There will be soon. But anyway, she left one of those upstairs in the post trays that we have. Basically saying, this is a spare one, so if you need it, please take it. You know, and I thought that was brilliant. And that's a tiny little thing, but it's so nice. It's so nice. And it just made me think. And hopefully out of this, everybody thinks more and becomes more considerate. So when I get people like, you know, and I talked about this on the last couple of podcasts, saying I get criticism for doing these things because I'm putting myself out there and all that, which is scary, like I say, and I get anxious about it and all that. And that thing, when I read the comment calling me an idiot yesterday, I obviously knew he was trying to call me an idiot, and it made my heart kind of sink a little bit. But it's fine because, you know, like, unless you're trying to do something positive, why bother trying to do anything at all? You know, and it's especially in these times. Okay, so my message, I suppose, is if you say you haven't got willpower, if you say you haven't got motivation to get yourself in shape, because you see all these Instagram people saying, like, you know, you need to be ripped and you need to do this and, you know, you need to get down the gym and it's like, no, you don't. You just need to be fit and healthy enough to get through things like this. That if you are going to get ill, you will get over it quicker, okay? And like I say, you might get people come back and go, yes, even if you are fit and healthy, it can still kill you. And it's like, yes, it can. And I get that. But you've got more of a chance of getting over illnesses and you've got more of a chance of staying alive if you are fit and healthy. And that's a fact, right? So, you know, like, there are exceptions and we get it. Keith Richards is the opposite way and he's an exception and we get that as well, right? So there you go. If everybody lived like Keith Richards, everybody who did wouldn't still be alive at his age, would they? So there you go. Anyway. That's all I got. That's all I got for today. I've just been I was thinking about this a lot over the weekend. Like I say, my friend who got diagnosed with cancer at 42, too young, not ideal, and I understand it affects a lot of people and there's sometimes nothing you can do about it. You know, but it's given him a wake-up call and he's changed things and it's for the better, and that's great, and he's cancer-free, which is perfect. For my dad, and obviously cancer treatment has progressed so much over the it progresses so much year by year. So I often think if it happened to my dad the same way now, he might have got over it. You know, but I can't dwell on that. I can't think about that because it didn't. And it was in 2004. And it's just the way it went. Well, he got diagnosed in 2003 and he died in 2004. And that's just the way it is. Okay? So, but it gave me a big old wake-up call that I was going to go the same way. I was unfit, I was unhealthy. I remember going out for a bike ride once and getting lightheaded and nearly falling off and I had to go home. I remember, I've talked about it, the first time I went to the gym, but the first time I went to the gym to try and get in shape when I was 25. In fact, I think it might have been the first time I did ever go to the gym. Went on the row machine, I lasted 8 minutes, I got a cold sweat and I nearly passed out. And I didn't go back for ages because I was scared. So, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And we all know that. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know already. All I'm saying is you probably need to think about it. Because if you lack willpower, you lack motivation, you don't. You don't need willpower. Lacking motivation, it just means you haven't got you haven't focused on the reason why you want this thing, why you want to be in shape. You just think, well, because somebody told me to, or because it feels like the right thing to do. It's like, that's not motivation. Motivation is something that you can think about, and it makes you realise that it's a good thing to do. And if you dispute that it's a good thing to do, that's cool. You can tell me, I don't care, because I know it is. So, there we go. If you think this helps, if it's helped you, if you think it'll help anybody you know, please share it. Not trying to sell anything or anything like that, but I've got a book on Amazon. It's 99p. That could help, especially with the way it is now. You can, at the moment, you can get outdoors and go for a walk. Stay away from everyone else. Okay, cool. But you can get outdoors and go for a walk. Just, don't go down the beach or anything like that, or up Snowdon at the minute, apparently. But when you can't do that, you're going to want things that you can do at home. And my kettlebell swing book will help with that if you can get your hands on a kettlebell, because there's not that many left at the moment because people have been buying them up. But it doesn't have to be a kettlebell. You can look anywhere and you can find workouts. Just get moving. Get out in the garden and get moving if you can. It's big. It's big, and it's something I'm obviously I feel very strongly about. So anyway, if you think this will help people who you know, share it with them. If you've got any questions, ask me. Let's keep the conversation going. Because once this pandemic's finished, this will still be something that is really important. And we all know that. So anyway, there we go. A little bit more serious from me today. But, it's serious. It is serious. But there we go. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Because, he's gone to sleep. I was going to take the little pooch for a walk, but he's gone to sleep. Bless him. He looks so cute. Oh, anyway, I'm going to go. So, yes, talk soon. Thank you.